We have big news. We have exciting news for you. Tell them what it is, Serena.
We are super excited to announce that we are starting our first membership this January 2024.
Yay! Membership.
So we're excited to let you know that we will be hosting a monthly membership where when you join, you will be
with us live in a Zoom room once a month for a workshop like we just hosted. It's going to be a workshop like that, one topic each month, a different topic. You might even help us come up with the following month's topic from inside our membership. Super excited to meet you. It was so fun meeting a few of you in our inaugural workshop. So we're really looking forward to that.
And when you are a member, you will also be receiving a monthly newsletter where I'm going to be a little more intimate and I'll be sharing the things that are working and the things that aren't working for me.
Yeah, like taking a tool that you've learned from the podcast and how you're implementing it and how well that worked, or maybe if it didn't work. And then Amma can put in my 2 bits worth. We'll see how that goes. But a membership newsletter and a membership live Zoom room workshop starting in January 2024. You can sign up through our Patreon link in the show notes, yeah?
Yes, everything will be in the show notes, and we can't wait to see you there, listeners.
We can't wait. Yay! If we're interdependent, I'm here for you. You're here for me. How can I help you? How can you help me? It spreads throughout our whole society and it creates healthy societies. Whereas fierce independence is I'm all about me, you're all about you, you do you. It's like, no, that's not actually going to have us survive very well at all. Welcome to the We Are the Village Parenting Podcast.
Hi, my name is Serena, mother to 2 little ones.
And hi, I'm Lisa, also known as the Singing Amma. Amma means grandmother in Icelandic. I am a mama and an Amma.
In this podcast, I am learning to practice gentle, attachment-focused parenting. Amma Lisa is here to teach us why it's vital to our children's development and well-being.
And I come to the village with a background in early childhood education. I have been coaching and supporting parents along their parenting journeys for over 35 years. Together, we explore some easy-to-implement skills you can add to your parenting tool belt to help you create a happy, thriving family.
We invite you to grab your latte
or your tea
and come sit around the proverbial ancient fire with us each week.
When we come together to have a conversation where we'll be keeping it real, keeping it raw, right here with you in the wonderful world of all things parenting. Hello, it's Lisa here again to read to you one of my magazine columns previously published in the Fishbowl magazine on Salt Spring Island, British Columbia. And then Mama Serena will join us like usual, and we will dive in deeper with you to look at today's topic, which is independence versus interdependence. Independence is a current, in vogue buzzword in parenting spheres. In our culture, anyway. Although, interestingly, this major push for early independence is not upheld globally. But here in our society, some parents pull their hair out trying to get their babies to go to sleep independently and in their own beds when they are very, very young. To get toddlers out of diapers and using the potty or brushing their own teeth, to get them dressing themselves and tidying up their toys. And as they get older, the lists of things they can and should be doing for and by themselves just keeps increasing. Okay, fine. I am absolutely all for encouraging autonomy as children are eager and ready for it. Absolutely. Most children, most days, given the right kind of support, will love their developing sense of independence. They crave it. It is the natural and normal evolution of the growing child. The question then is, what happens when a child does not do something the parent knows he or she is quite capable of doing? What happens when a child who's been sleeping in their own bed wants to tuck in beside mom or dad? Or a child who is very capable of getting themselves dressed suddenly insists they need help today. This kind of behavior can be seen as backsliding. It drives some parents crazy. Why, they wonder, why does my child ask for help with something they can do for themselves and they used to be quite proud of doing? The reason could be something as simple as the child is having a tough moment. Maybe they're tired, or maybe they're coming down with something that we don't know about yet, feeling a little under the weather. Perhaps they had a challenging interaction with somebody earlier in their day. Or maybe for no reason at all, they just want to connect on that deeper level that getting assistance can bring. This is where interdependence comes in. As I like to say, you've heard me say it before, we are social mammals. We are designed to interact with others. We are designed to take care of and to care for one another. So why do we have such reactions when our children need us again? Don't we adults do the same thing? Don't we sometimes ask our significant other or a friend or family member to help us with a task we are quite capable of doing independently, simply because it feels better to do it with company, or we just don't feel like doing it alone? Tidying the kitchen might be a good example. You can do it on your own, but reaching out and getting assistance, especially if you're tired or upset for some reason, or even if you're just feeling lonely, it can seem like a really good idea in any given moment to do it with another. To feel one can depend on another. This is interdependence. This feels safe. Interdependence brings a sense of security, and it can bring a sense of relief too sometimes. Having a steady foundation of interdependence can provide a lifting off place from which a child's true independence will gladly emerge.
Yes. That's Aniston saying hello to everybody. And so this article was very helpful, especially today with Andrea. We're having kind of a difficult day. And listening to this article and understanding that independence is a natural evolution helps put the brakes on the rush of getting them to become independent by us pushing them. And by us pushing them to create that independence, it really just leads to frustration when they're not ready. And one thing that you mentioned in the article that I really liked is that it is a natural evolution. So they are going to get ready. They're going to be willing to do these things, but there might be some regression once they start doing it. And one of the most...
There will be regressions.
Yeah.
It's natural. It's normal. Development is not linear. It doesn't start at A and end at Z. I'm a Canadian. We say Z. It starts at A, it goes to B, it jumps to D sometimes, and it goes back to B, and then it goes to C, and then it goes to D, and then it goes back to B again, because things happen in life that cause us to question or feel insecure about where we are in our development. And we just naturally go back to where we feel safe again.
And us pushing them just creates more frustration for us. And so just listening.
And for them, sorry,
Yeah.
but and for them, like
No, yes.
everybody's frustrated, right?
Yes, of course. This column was great to listen to help give us that patience and that gentleness with our kids.
Nice. So when you say she's having a difficult day, this is your 2-year-old we're talking about. Can you tell us a little about what's happening? Just a normal 2-year-old day that isn't going really smoothly and fabulously.
Yes, so she's
what
just
kind of
like
examples?
crying for everything. For toys, for she wants to be carried, she wants a bottle, and it's not bottle time, and difficult day.
So just, and I mean, just to be really picky with our language, I mean, it is a difficult day, and that saying that it's a difficult day can also imply that it should be different than it is. We're just having a day of regression. We're just having a day of higher needs. We're just having a day where it's not going as smoothly as it often does. And that's just normal. It's normal to have these ups and downs in our days. The whole piece about how some days we just, like in the column, I say, maybe she's tired. I think you said to me earlier that you had a big day yesterday.
Yeah, we had a long day yesterday, and she woke up at 4 a.m. and was up for 2 hours. And so
okay, there you go.
Yeah, sleep was off.
She's tired.
Yeah.
And if her sleep is off like that, and if she's having a tired day with lots of crying and not using words and all of that, a regression, it's likely just for today and a good night's sleep tonight, and she'll be back on track tomorrow. And I also want to say, it's not off track that she's having an off day. It's perfect because it's not linear, it's undulating. It's the tide comes in a little, the tide goes out a little, so there's nothing wrong with having those days. They are not the easiest for us as parents, and they're certainly not the easiest for our children, and they're normal.
So Aniston's a little tired, and I thought she was hungry, so you will hear her eking and nyang during the episode. I'm sorry, I hope it doesn't bother you too much, but that's podcasting and parenting at the same time. But also, you mentioned how parents now want their kids to spell their name, know the alphabet, know all the numbers before preschool. And we've mentioned it before, it's just free play. They learn a lot during free play instead of having everything structured and kind of.
We need to do a whole episode about free play, at least one, because it is vital. And in fact, next week's episode is stopping the glorification of busy. So we hope you listen in next week for that. And these are all on that same kind of thread of, taking some time to just be with our children in where they're at right now today. So allowing our children to have those days where they have higher needs from us. It doesn't mean that they won't go back to using their words to say what they need. They won't, when kids are able to dress themselves and then one day they say, mommy, dress me, and they're just having a day where they don't feel like they can do those things that they are able to do themselves. When we allow them to have those slips backwards and we support them and say, oh, so you know how to get yourself dressed, and today you really feel like you need mama's help. Okay, I'm here. I got you. What we're doing is we are creating a foundation of trust in our relationship. And with a foundation of trust, that's where healthy human development happens. That's where healthy interdependent relationships happen. I was realizing when Serena and I were talking just before we started recording, is that right now, through this pandemic, we've been noticing the problem of focus on independence has shown up in the pandemic in such a way, like, let's look. I'm not going to wear a mask. I don't need to wear a mask. I'm fine. I'm not worried about this little flu, blah, blah, blah. I'm fine. However, you not wearing a mask could actually put my life at risk. I'm immunocompromised. If I got that bad level of COVID, it could put my life at risk. So just as a current day look at independence and this fierce independence that we've created in our Western world, it's a problem. If we're interdependent, I'm here for you, you're here for me. How can I help you? How can you help me? It spreads throughout our whole society, and it creates healthy societies. Whereas fierce independence is, I'm all about me, you're all about you, you do you. It's like, no, that's not actually going to have us survive very well at all. So just to bring it into current day reality, here's one of the drawbacks of that hyper focus on independence. We are, as I say in the column, we are social mammals, and human beings thrive on being connected with others. Our babies and children thrive on connection with us, which is why we always say connection before correction. If you're having a difficult moment, connect, right? Oh, I see you giving a baby.
Yeah, I'm bouncing her around. But but I think the basis of this and the main thing is that we need to have patience with our kids, and with which we'll probably discuss next week, the glorification of busy. We don't have time to just stop and take a breath with our kids. We just want everything so accelerated now.
And exactly. And here's another thing I want to point out about this, raising interdependent children. First of all, I want to let you know, listener, that development is sequential. So it's about a child's age, but it's also about the stage of development they're in. And there is sequential autonomy that happens. So autonomy or independence happens in a sequence. And so our job as the parent aiming to raise an interdependent, healthy, strong child is to be very aware of where they are in their sequential autonomy. So if your 2-year-old is ready for the potty, then you bring in the potty. And we talked about that in our potty, our toileting episode. If they're really not ready for the potty, you're not going to do anybody any favors by pushing for the potty, So being aware of their readiness as a toddler is ready to start pulling panties on for themselves, pulling pants on for themselves, putting a dress on or a shirt on for themselves. Yes, there's sequential autonomy that's happening. And when they're ready, they will want to do it. And allowing for them to grow into their natural autonomy, their natural independence is our job. Now, one of the interesting things too is if you were raised in an authoritarian home, you do what I say because I say so, if that was your parent or parents, or if you were raised in a home where you could do whatever you wanted and nobody really seemed to notice, aka neglect to some level, then you are going to actually, as a parent, you are going to need to do your work to raise your level of self-awareness about it's okay to be dependent on another person in a healthy way. And it's okay to be independent when that's the right feel. But either being completely dependent on another or completely independent of another are not the healthy place to stand in the whole spectrum of independence, right? So we parents, we need to do our work. That's part of what parenting is, and nobody told us that part before we had our kids.
Yes, I definitely had both of those.
Mhm.
Both of those growing up, and when something does happen, I can do it by myself. I don't need help from anybody else. And
Yeah, the fierce independence.
yeah.
And what we're learning in trauma informed counseling, that whole world of the childhood trauma that's really coming forward these days currently, fierce independence is almost always related to childhood trauma of some kind. And that could be extreme neglect, it could be extreme authoritarianism, and it could be things that happened to us, some form of abuse or that kind of thing, or parents separating or abandonment. Those kinds of things are trauma for children. So so yeah, that fierce independence is actually not a healthy form of independence. It's a reaction to the fact that your parent or parents were not there for you. You did not grow up feeling like you could trust your world. And as a young child, your world is your parent or parents. And so our job is to heal those aspects of ourself, gain the self-awareness where we can be there for our children when they need us and allow them to grow into their independence as they're ready. And it's totally a juggling game all the time.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. Anything else from that you wanted to talk about?
Just one of the things with gentle parenting and people being scared of it is saying that gentle parents become pushovers. It's not about becoming a pushover. And if your kid doesn't want to put their socks on today when they could do it yesterday, that you need to look
Exactly.
at.
Regression is normal in childhood development. Our children will learn and then they will recede again. They will regress. They will learn some more. They'll take a few more steps, then they'll come running back to you. Then they'll take a few more steps, then they'll come running back to you. It's normal. Like that's what I was saying, A to Z. It doesn't go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Let them, allow them to come back and lean on you when they need to. If there's a regression, they were getting themselves dressed and now they're whining for your help every morning. It's like, okay, so right now you're needing some support getting dressed. I'm here, I'm helping you. And it doesn't mean you just go, okay, honey, I'm going to do it for you now. It's like, do you want to put your panties on and then I'll help you with your pants? You can look to see if there's actually something they're having difficulty with. So one of the great phrases for encouraging autonomy is sometimes it helps too. So helping a child figure out that sometimes it helps to sit down and pull the pants on over your feet and then stand up and pull them up, rather than if they're trying to balance and, do all that. Sometimes it helps to put your shoes on when you're sitting down. The sometimes it helps is a great key phrase. But also, if there are changes in the family, in the household, if there's a new baby, if you move, if somebody moves in with you, if there's more, if there's arguments between mom and dad, if they're having a rough time right now, if there, is a loss in the family, if there's a new daycare or school, or the new school year starting, all those things can make a big difference for a child and can cause regression. So just flow with it as well as you can. Be patient with yourself and gentle, and also be patient and gentle with your child, and know that they'll go back to their independence. That's their natural direction that they want to go in, right? Is to gain independence. So they will get back to it. And if you have questions about interdependence and independence and what's wrong with independence anyway, just send us a note. We'd love to talk some more about it with you, and bring your questions onto a future episode. Take good care, and we love you. Thanks for being here.
So thanks for joining us and having this conversation about the importance of interdependence versus independence. So I just wanted to share my takeaways, and here's number 1. Our job is to be aware of where our kids are in their sequential autonomy. That way we don't expect too much of them, leading to frustration for both of us. Number 2 is progress is not linear, so we have to allow them to have their days of regression, which is very normal, and we can just use words of encouragement, like sometimes it helps to sit while you put your socks on if they're needing help. And number 3, this builds the trust, which is the foundation to healthy human development. So basically, it's okay for our kids to depend on us. It's important for them to depend on us. They have to trust that we're going to be there to support them. And this all helps in the long run. It doesn't make them more dependent on us. It makes them more independent because they have that foundation of trust. So, be kind with your kids. Have that patience. It's not easy, but we wish you the best of luck, and we hope you just understand the importance of allowing them to depend on us. So thanks for joining us, and I hope you got something useful out of this episode. See you next week.
Thanks for being here with us in our virtual village. Hit subscribe so you're notified about our newest episodes each week.
And hey, did you get something from today's episode? I know I sure did. Be kind. Hit that share button and send it to your mama friends so they can benefit from it too.
Also, by leaving us a review, you will be helping more parents out there to find answers to the questions that might be keeping them up at night.
We'd love you to follow us on Instagram and our Facebook page at The Village Parenting Pod.
And we'd love you to direct message us. Let us know your questions that we could address in future episodes and how we can serve you better.
This podcast is sponsored by the Singing Alma's private parent coaching and workshop offerings. We also now have a Buy Me a Coffee option for a fun way that you could support this podcast. Link is in the show notes.